This broadcast is the property of Codependents Anonymous. Reproduction without written permission from Codependents Anonymous is not permitted.
So welcome back. I hope everybody's got all their snacks and everything they needed. Are we all good, Carol? On your side, on the virtual side? It looks like it.
Everybody ready to go? I heard no. Let's have some more fun. Somebody asked me in a meeting one time, okay, who wants to read the control patterns? And somebody said, everybody does. Hardy har. All right, everybody, we're going to settle down and get back to work because this is the fun stuff. Compliance patterns. Codependents are often extremely loyal, remaining in harmful situations too long. Yeah. I kept hoping for a change, thinking if I do this, they will do that, and then I'll be happy. Compliance patterns. Codependents are often extremely loyal, remaining in harmful situations too long. I kept hoping for a change, thinking if I do this, they will do that, and then I'll be happy. If I have dinner on the table at 5, for example, he'll come home instead of going to the bar. If I do this, he will do that, and then I'll be happy. Simple. This helps me think that I have control over the situation, and this is the key. This is why we use patterns. We think we have control over the situation if we use a pattern. I wanted to bring the relationship back to where it was in the beginning. What I wasn't realizing is that I wanted to get back to our representatives, where we were faking. Now that the real people came out, I'm like, ew. I didn't, it was turning bad. And I forgot. Would you do me a favor and put those, the levels of friendship up? Can you put that on the screen? I think it's on my laptop. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to let you work on that while I'm working on this. Okay, good, because I promised you and now I'm lying. Okay. In recovery, I am committed to my safety, and I leave situations that feel unsafe or inconsistent with my goals. This is different from things that seem like they might be going sideways, okay? We perceive that something might be going weird, and we act on that. This is different. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Thanks. Okay. Where am I? In recovery, I am committed to my safety and leave situations that feel unsafe. This is a serious thing. Louder? Okay. How about that? I told you I have to eat this thing. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I can do that. That things that feel unsafe or are inconsistent with my goals. When you find out that your representative all of a sudden quit his job and wants to move in with you, it might be time to let go of that relationship that is inconsistent with your goals. If you feel unsafe, if you physically feel unsafe with anyone, don't wait for more than one red flag. Get the hell out of there. I cussed again. Okay, I'm going to do one cuss per pattern. That's mine for this one. Compromise their own values and integrity to avoid rejection and anger. I lowered my standards to meet the current conditions. Anyone familiar with that? Can you hear me? You're good. Okay. Kind of. Okay. Sort of. Okay. All right. I'm going to blast it. I lowered my standards to meet the situation, whatever it was. Had a friend of mine in AA talk about he woke up in jail, and the only reason he decided to get sober was he couldn't lower his standards fast enough to meet that situation. He couldn't make it come together, so he said, well, I have no choice. Now I have to get sober. Same thing. Okay. Oh, this is fun. I remember the first time I said no when a male coworker asked if I wanted to hear a dirty joke. I finally said no. This is the difference. If I said yes, then there's a lot of assumptions that are going to be made about me, right? I'm going to be put into a category. By saying no, I was put into another category. Uptight, you know what. And I paid for it. He would warn other people sarcastically not to tell me dirty jokes because I didn't like those. Whatever. But I had hurt his feelings. You know, I had taken his pride down a notch. I didn't mean to do that, but I understood his reaction. I would have reacted the same way. So I wasn't mad at him when he warned people not to tell me dirty jokes. It was okay. Okay. Put aside their own interests in order to do what others want. Oops, and I apologize. In recovery, I am rooted in my own values, even if others don't agree or become angry. None of that is my business. If I draw a boundary on somebody and they get angry about it, that's not for me. That's for them to work out. I, tell them, go call your sponsor, right? I've done that before. Okay. It didn't work out like I thought it was going to. Anyway, put aside their own interests in order to do what others want. I don't go to romantic comedies anymore in the movies. I can't. They're garbage. I just can't do it. I tried. I really did, because everybody wanted to see a romantic comedy but me. I would rather see a zombie movie than a romantic comedy, because they're garbage, and I know that. And I consider my interests and feelings when asked to participate in another's plans. And when they decided they wanted to go to the romantic comp, I said, you know what? I'm not really in the mood for that. You guys go and have a great time. I'll catch you next time. I would have never done that before CoDA, because maybe they won't ask me next time. You know, if I say no, they're going to say, well, don't ask her. She doesn't like to go to this. Maybe she could, you're in a group again. And it's not the group that they want you to be in. Remember, this has nothing to do with you. This is about them, and it's for them to work out. Okay, are hypervigilant regarding the feelings of others and take on those feelings. Wow. Where did I learn that, I wonder? You know, in the house where I come from, you wait for them to speak so that they can tell you what the mood of the room is going to be. I misjudge this every once in a while. Hey, y'all. I think there's no help for this. I would be great. Anyway, okay, because you're being recorded. Anyway, did we get that? No. Were you able to? Okay, cool. You do what you do. Or how do they say that? Do you. Okay. Are hypervigilant regarding the feelings of others. Of course I was. And if they came home angry, I'd be angry on their behalf. And go take care of it for them. I would match whatever mood they were in, because if I didn't, there was trouble. You always went along with the mood of the room, and then that, of course, that went forward to boyfriends and everything else. You just go with the mood of the room. It's easier. Bosses, in particular, are really good at this. If they get mad, oh, that's stupid, they're complaining about their boss. Yeah, that knucklehead, go right along with them, because, you don't want to stick out. In recovery, I can separate my feelings from the feelings of others. I'm not upset at her boss. She is. It's got nothing to do with me. And so what I say when things like that happen, I'm sorry to hear that. Write that down. I'm sorry to hear that is a complete sentence, and it is a legitimate response when somebody is complaining to you about someone else. I'm sorry you're going through that. They've been heard. That's all they wanted. If you come home mad, I'll join in and cuss out the person you're mad at, even if I think you're wrong, okay? Even if I think you're wrong, I'll go ahead and get angry with you, because I want to be just like you. My job is to support you. The best codependent song in the world is Tammy Wynette's Stand By Your Man, okay? If you're not familiar, look up the lyrics. It's Stand By Your Man no matter what. Especially if they're hurting you, because if they're hurting you and you can still love them, that's noble. It's garbage. That's why I don't go to those movies. I just can't do it anymore, because I know it's not real. It never was. But I used to believe that that's the way it worked out. You start out with somebody who doesn't like you very much, but if you treat them right, and if you're nice, and if you have dinner on the table at 5, they're going to turn around and be Mr. Romance, and that's what you wanted. Turns out that's not what you wanted. You wanted a challenge, and you wanted something to master. loving relationships are boring. It's awesome. You know, you don't have those great big emotional highs and lows. It's just cool all the time with sporadic little bumps here and there, you know, usually medical. Boy, I don't like hospitals, but I went anyway. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. I can separate my feelings from the feelings of others. I allow myself to experience my feelings and others to be responsible for their feelings. You don't need to do anything when somebody's upset. CoDA people are people of action. I'm going to change this for you. I'm going to fix it, right? I'm going to fix this so you will feel better, and then you will make me happy. If I do or say this, you will do or say that, and then I'll be happy. That's important. Don't get into that trap. Are afraid to express their beliefs, opinions, and feelings when they differ from those of others? Of course. I learned early on not to state an opinion until I evaluated the room. I didn't always get that right. I would either be yelled at or bullied. Worse, it might make them see me differently if I disagreed with them. They might put me in another category, and the category is on the outside of the friendship circle. It might poke a hole in my representative facade, right? If I don't get it right, because I have to. It's a big job. If you're constantly presenting your representative, that's a full-time gig, because you've got to remember what they like, not what you like. That's got nothing to do with you. You got to remember their wants, their needs, their likes, their dislikes, and all that other stuff, so that you can be what they need. And then they'll make you happy. In recovery, I respect my own opinions and feelings, and I think I just went away. Did I go bye-bye again? Okay, here we go. I respect my own opinions and feelings and express them appropriately. Appropriately comes up an awful lot in CoDA.
Much better.
Did you notice that? Appropriately. You don't blurt stuff out anymore. It's more responding rather than reacting, I think, is the key. If you respond to something, that's appropriate. If you just react to it, that's your little girl or your little boy. That's the little child inside you that's reacting. That's coming from the past. That's what you're reacting with. When you respond, that's your adult. And I think I'm just going to keep going, because I love to hear myself talk. Huh? Yes, please do. Good, because we were just about to talk about sex. Levels of friendship are coming up, hopefully. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I don't want to run out of time. This is important. Accept sexual attention when they want love. I had that confused. I blurred those two. If I had one, that meant the other was going to follow. If I gave sex to somebody, that meant they were going to fall in love with me. And I don't know where I got that idea. Probably those stupid romance novels, right? Because that's the way those work. So obviously, in real life, it's going to be that way too. This was particularly troubling for me. After years of abuse as a child, sex wasn't a special gift that I would give someone else. It was a way to attract attention. It was a power play, sadly. I just used it to attract and hold attention, thinking it would turn into love. Again, temporary. This is a temporary fix. It's not permanent. I used sex to end a date once because I was tired. I mean, that's so sad, but it's true. I was tired. I knew he wasn't going to let me off the hook with that. I said, okay, just do it. God. Oh, yeah, I love you too. Yeah. Okay. And that's the way I did. They didn't mean anything to me. In recovery, my sexuality is grounded in genuine intimacy and connection. When I need to feel loved, I express my heart's desires. I do not settle for sex without love. That's the truth of it. And it's so much better. Sober sex, number one, is a whole different area. Okay, so it used to be showtime, but that's not. That's hard to do when you're sober. So now it's just more, it's more intimate and natural with this man that I've been with for 15 years. It's a whole different ballgame. We are intimate. Now I know what that means. And it's, it's nice. It's, just makes you feel good all under, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Whew, okay. My God. Okay. Make decisions without regard to the consequences. That was me. I'd make snap decisions just to show you that I could make a decision. Okay, that's right on the money. Yes, I can make a decision. It's usually the wrong one because I didn't think about it. I didn't think about the repercussions or the consequences. I didn't use my intuition. I didn't use any of that. I just made a decision. Lots of marriages that way. I only had 3. Okay, I only had 3. But it seems like more than that. Just to prove I could make a decision. Yeah, see, that was easy. I can make a decision. I ask my higher power now for guidance. I call my sponsor. If I'm stuck with something that I really don't know what to do about, which is rare these days, because I'm letting my life unfold, just like it says in the Blue Book. Let your life unfold like it's supposed to, and you don't have to do all that thinking. Thinking's my worst enemy. I can think my way in or out of bad situations, or good ones, depending. On recovery, I ask my higher power for guidance and my sponsor and consider possible consequences before I make decisions. That's a really good idea, just in case you're wondering. Give up their truth to gain the approval of others or to avoid change. My truth, if I had one, didn't matter, ever. I don't remember asking myself what I thought, ever. I just liked what you thought. In recovery, I stand in my truth and maintain my integrity, whether others approve or not, even if it means making difficult changes in my life. I've made some difficult changes, and they all turned out spectacularly, even when they went south, because it's a lesson I'm learning. I'm using my experience to help other people, and I've had a lot of bad experience, so I have a wealth of experience for you guys. You want to talk about anything, I probably know a lot about it, except for kids. Never had children. So that's my area that I thankfully know nothing about. They make me nervous, okay? Kids make me nervous. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them. So I treat them like little Yay. All right, here we go. This is cool, because right after that, we're going to talk about control. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, there we go. So levels of friendship. I've got 6 different levels on here. This is important. All relationships start out as a 1. There are no zeros. Everybody's on the chart somewhere. I know you like to cancel people. Okay, we're codependents. We like to cancel them, ghost them, whatever you want to call it. But everybody's on this chart somewhere. It is never a goal to move anyone to a 6. Each person is going to drop into a category based on their behaviors. Just look for it. If you just keep your eyes open and watch their behaviors and look for things, you'll know where they go. For example, I'm going to scroll up one. Oops. Okay. We're going to go back to control. That's okay. I can jump around. I'm so good at this now. I don't freak out when things go badly. Can you advance it? Oh, you already did. Here we go. Number 1 is an insignificant level. Everybody starts here. These people don't affect your lives one way or other. They're just other people in the world. My family are, most of them are 1s, only a couple of them are 2s, and that's okay. Just because their family doesn't mean they have to mean something to you. Sometimes they mean something bad to you. Okay? Keep them at a 1 until you're ready to move them forward, if ever. Level 1 is for people you just met. It's also people who have been moved back from higher levels. This is a fluid chart. If you find out something about somebody, you see a red flag later, whoops, okay, move them back to where they belong. That's okay. The people here are strictly surface relationships. You have no expectations of them, and there are no obligations either way. Keep all of your personal information to yourself. These are just surface people. They don't need to know anything about you. Unfortunately, I used to tell everybody my entire life story within 5 minutes of meeting them, so they would understand me. Number 2, casual. This person has moved forward from level 1 due to common ground, such as co-workers, classmates, recovery people, etc. During this probation stage, and they are on probation, don't forget, you get to judge. It sounds like a judgment, and it kind of is, but it's more of a discernment, okay? You're going to go check these people out for a change. You already know about yourself. Now go find out about them. You begin to evaluate this person to determine whether they should move forward to a higher level or just stay here. Actively look for and don't dismiss or make excuses for red flags. How do they treat animals? How do they talk to their mother? How do they talk about their ex? Because that's the way they're going to talk about you when it breaks up. Okay? Are they a victim? Are you their only friend? Do they criticize you? Do they try to fix you? And most importantly, do they try to isolate you? Do they try to cut you off from your friends? That's the number one thing they start to do when they want to start controlling you. And that type of relationship, everybody knows this, goes south, always. Remember, you've only met their representative, the person they want you to believe they are. You may have introduced them to your representative. After 90 days minimum, recheck for the red flags before you consider moving them forward, and check your own behavior. Are you being authentic with them? Or are you being a representative to them? You know, be who you actually are, and you'll be fine. And this is also a good level. There's nothing wrong with being a casual friend. Nothing at all. Number 3, companionship. This level begins your one-on-one relationships. It's been at least 90 days. 90 days. It's important. It takes 90 days for people to drop the facade and show you who they are. Okay. They're off probation. Platonic roommates should be at least 3 months before you consider moving in with them, if at all possible. How many people have had a roommate when they move in with them, all of a sudden they discover they're living with, just a horrible situation? I've heard about it a lot. For romantic relationships, at level 3, you might start deciding whether this is a sacred or devoted relationship or just a friendship. Sacred in this sense means set apart from other relationships. This one is different. It's special. You can begin to share personal information at this level and see what they do with it. Do they try to fix it? Do they minimize it? If your personal information is shared with others, move this person back to a 2 and leave them there. They aren't trustworthy. Don't give them any breaks. Don't give them, 1, 2, 3, you're out. Give them a 1, and you're back to a 2. Okay, don't waste your time. We're not getting any younger here. Okay. Your relationships must be equal at each level. If your prospect has you at a 2 and you moved them up to a 6 already, you got to move them back to a 2. That's where you both belong. If somebody treats you like a 1 and you've got them at a 6, that's not equal. We're looking for equality, equal balanced relationships here. Move forward, please. Number 4, friendship. By the way, I'm going to give you my email address. If you want a copy of this, I'd be happy to send it to you. You don't need to write notes, okay? So I should have probably said that earlier. Never mind. Number 4, friendship. Now we're at a friendship. After the first 3 levels, your friend has made it through the dissection of levels 1, 2, and 3. This level is a partnership between 2 people who value each other equally. It's a good time to evaluate your friend and make sure you are a 4 with them too. If they're treating you like a 1, move them back to a 1. Codependents are famous for having unequal partners. This is more intimate than your other relationships. This is a person who feels safe to you, and you naturally spend more time with them than others. Your sponsor will often fit in here while you're working the steps. Your relationship with your sponsor is so unique, but during the steps, this is a really close relationship. This person, if you don't trust them, get a different sponsor. Okay. 5, intimate relationship. This is an equally deep partnership with shared passions, trust, and respect. Your partner must also have you at a 5. You can sit in a room without talking and be perfectly comfortable. Time spent together builds more trust and respect, not less. Seems to be kind of a pattern of mine. Gets worse and worse, right? When you discuss deeply private information, you know your privacy will be respected and won't be weaponized. You can confidently take bigger risks with each other. This is a true companion. But also, make sure you need to tell them that deeply private information. Most deeply private information, the embarrassing stuff, that belongs with your sponsor. These things from the past, and I maintain this, these things from the past, your partner might not need to know about all those gory details. Okay, not the gory details. Overview is fine. I'm an alcoholic. Okay, but we were just watching a video a minute ago of these 2 ladies trying to get off a beach, and one went face down in the sand. They don't need to know that. Okay, they don't need to know everything. A gloss over is fine. That's my opinion. It's my opinion only. And number 6, the big banana. This is a committed partnership. This is the only level where marriage can be considered. This is a sacrosanct, which means inviolate, pure, protected, secure, and shielded. And a fearless relationship. Fearless meaning I'm not afraid that my boyfriend is going to harm me in any way, emotionally or physically. If he cracks a joke about me, it's a joke. He's not insulting me. I already know that because I'm fearless with him. And he's fearless with me. You both share responsibility for the relationship and you honor each other equally. Your partner must also have you at a 6. This level is for that one person you can say honestly that you want to be with as long as you're both alive. That's the one. You know, that's your partner. That's your partner in crime, your collaborator, your, whatever you want to call it. Me and my boyfriend, we're thick as thieves, man. You just can't ever tell what either one of us is going to say at any given time. My email is Special K. Special K was my nickname in rehab. I know. I thought it was a compliment, but it wasn't. They were trying to tell me I was self-absorbed. Can you imagine that? That's just crazy. Doesn't make any sense. 2102, which is my sobriety birth date. Picked up a 20-year chip this year. Can you imagine that? That's unbelievable, man. I still don't get that. That makes no sense to me. At gmail.com. Special K 2102 at gmail.com. I'll send you copies of whatever you want. All right, let's talk about control patterns. I believe people are incapable of taking care of themselves. Cool. Okay, believe people are incapable of taking care of themselves. It made me feel superior when others asked for my counsel, which they always did. I mean, people were calling up, what do you think I should do about this? They didn't take my advice. They just wanted to tell me what their problems were over and over and over again. You know those people, they never take action that seems totally logical to you. They just want to talk about it. They're ruminators. I think that's in the book. If it isn't, it should be. In recovery, I realized that with rare exceptions, other adults are capable of managing their own lives. They are also adults. Now, none of this, by the way, goes for kids. Kids are a whole different category, and like I said, they make me nervous. I don't deal with kids. So for adults, they are capable of taking care of themselves. If they need help and they ask you for help, that's a different thing. But if you constantly offer help to somebody, it's kind of an insult, isn't it? It's, you're not smart enough to do this by yourself, so I'm going to take over. And we are talking about control patterns, so that makes sense. Attempt to convince others what to think, do, or feel. I helped, aggressively helped, run other people's lives so I didn't have to look at my own. I never took my own advice, hence the title of this workshop. Not using my own advice, but I have plenty for you. Got lots. In recovery, I accept the thoughts, choices, and feelings of others, even though I may not be comfortable with them. They get to be exactly who they are. They get to think what they want to think. They get to say what they want to say. They get to do what they want to do. It's up to me to decide whether I'm going to stick around anymore. That's all. That's for them, and this is for me. Don't get confused. There's serenity, the way I see it, is like if you're in the eye of a hurricane. Now, if you're in the eye of a tornado or a hurricane, it's not windy in there, okay? The wind is out there, and you can look up and see the sun. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Birds are chirping, all that stuff, and you are unaffected. And all around you is this great big mishmash and witches on bicycles and cows and stuff flying by, all this stuff. And you can see all this terrible stuff going on, but you don't have to get involved. As soon as you put your hand out to help, you're caught in it too. So if you want to stay serene, stay in the middle. Stay where the sun is. Okay. You don't have to get involved, believe me. Freely offer advice and direction without being asked. God bless my sponsor. This was her kryptonite. She said when her sponsor told her for 90 days you're not allowed to give anyone any advice unless they ask you for it. She said, I had no idea how many times I was telling people what to do. I had no idea until I had to stop doing that for 90 days. And, of course, her sponsor tricked her as well. It was forever, right? We're tricky, man. Well, whatever we need to do to get you to see the light, right? But here's the thing. I want you to write down this. Write this down. Unsolicited advice equals criticism. Every single time. You're telling that person they're not smart enough to come up with this themselves. If they ask you, by all means, help them out. But if you offer advice on anything without being asked, that's an insult. That's hard, because I was, really good at that. Aggressively helpful. In recovery, I give advice only when I'm asked. Don't try to fudge on that one. My sponsor, God bless her, she tries to make a sort of a cast-out statement when she wants to get people to do what she wants them to do. And I actually pointed this out to her. I don't think we've talked since. No, yes, we have. Okay. Yeah, okay. We've talked since then. But, the blanket statements of, it really annoys me when people come to a group of people and then sit there and watch their telephones, And that's basically telling the room you're supposed to be interacting with each other. She's still kind of doing the same thing, just not one-on-one, sort of a blanket statement. And, we're all just working on this stuff. That's all. She's great. She's my hero. And in recovery, I am content to see others take care of themselves. Wow. I love it when sponsees come and tell me, guess what I learned? Even if it's something that I've been trying to get through to them for months, and then they come on, guess what I learned from the internet? Like, oh, that's fantastic. Wow. This is why sponsors have nervous tics. That's all. Because it's like, wow, I remember that. Yeah, I've been trying to. It's okay. It's okay. I'm glad they learned it. They don't have to learn it from me. I don't need to be special anymore. I really don't. And that's really shocking and goes against everything I ever knew. Lavish gifts and favors on those they want to influence. Yeah, I didn't have enough money to really go big on this one, but when the potluck came around, I had to have the most spectacular looking dish, and so that everybody would talk about it, but I'm not a very good cook, so this was hard. I'd have to go big or do something unusual to get the effect that I wanted. The Christmas gift exchange, mine would always be over $20. I would fudge on that as well because I wanted people to go, wow, thank you. I don't do that anymore either. I don't do a lot of things that I used to do, and you know what? Guess what? I'm happy. I'm happy. I don't think about this all the time anymore. Oh, God, that potluck's coming up. What magic wizardry am I going to do this time? I don't need to worry about it. Me and a bag of chips. I don't know. I actually have a really good recipe for artichoke dip. If you want it, let me know. I'll give that to you. It's amazing. Okay. It'll change your life. Okay. But yeah, I would lavish gifts on people so that they'll like you more or give you a raise ahead of somebody else or then maybe that promotion is on the line. In recovery, I carefully and honestly contemplate my motivations when preparing to give a gift. That's important. Why am I doing this? There's only two things that motivate us. One is love and one is fear. I'll give you an example, my favorite example. This one's perfect because I actually did this. I got a boss, and she went in the hospital. She had it wasn't gallbladder. What's that one where it's all of a sudden, not a hernia? What? Thank you. She had her appendix out. So, no, we didn't have any preparation for this, so I didn't get to think about it too much, which is good. So, should I send her flowers or not? If I send her flowers because I really want her to be happy and I know she likes flowers, I'm going to go ahead and see if she can cheer up or, make her feel better. That's love. If I send those flowers thinking if I don't send flowers, maybe I'm going to get passed over for a promotion, that's fear. There's two categories of fear. I'm either going to lose something I already have, or I'm not going to get something I think I want. That's important. It's multiple choice. There's only two things. Either I'm going to lose something I already have, or I'm not going to get something I think I want. And since we don't know what we want, just grabbing for everything, something's going to make me happy, something that I'm reaching for eventually. It's got to, my numbers are with me, right? Eventually, it's got to come true. Sex again. Use sexual attention to gain approval and acceptance, of course. That was my method. That's what I did. That's how I attracted men. Because again, I was kind of pudgy growing up. I wasn't beautiful. I wasn't smart. Obviously, I didn't get straight A's. I still was in that place where I didn't really know much about myself, but I was funny. I had a sense of humor, so I could use that, and I could use sex. Worked every time, briefly. Short-lived. It's short-lived. I shouldn't have made that. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I got to watch my gestures. Got to watch, short-lived. In recovery, I embrace and celebrate my sexuality as evidence of my health and wholeness. I do not use it to gain the approval of others. That's why I don't listen to dirty jokes anymore. It's just one of those things. You get put in that category, and that's where you're staying. Period. And then you get put in another category if you say you don't want to hear a dirty joke. But this category is better. Have to feel needed in order to have a relationship with others. Yeah, when I was playing God, I needed to be needed, because if they needed me, they weren't going anywhere. If they needed me, they're not going to leave. It's simple. It's just simple. That's the way I did that. I feel more secure when I'm needed, especially financially. It didn't really matter what was needed. I would provide it. Money, sex, the sympathetic ear, these were all just me getting my foot in the door. Wasn't a long-term foot. I was just getting in the door, and I would work on the rest of it after I got in, right? Lie to get a job and then work it out. In recovery, I developed relationships with others based on equality, intimacy, and balance. In that friendship, the levels of friendship, I kept saying, this must be equal. If they have you at a 4 and you've got them at a 6, move them back to a 4. This equality thing is really important. Don't put them at a 6 and hope they'll drag their butt up there someday. Oh, I can say ass. That's my one for control. Okay. And to cuss. There we go. Okay, so I got one left. Excuse me. Goodness. Don't wait for them to, drag themselves up to a 6. That might not happen. That's not going to happen. If you put them back they've got you at a 4, you stay at a 4. That's a good relationship. And if it's never going to be a 6, that's fine too. In recovery, I find and use resources that meet my needs without making demands on others. I ask for help when I need it without expectations. Yeah, the rhetorical questions. I can count on you for that, can't I? That's a rhetorical question. Goodness. Where's that water? Liquid is always the answer. And let's see, development. Where am I? Have to feel needed, yeah. Yeah, once I got my foot in the door, then I would work out what they needed from me at that point. Lie your way in and then figure it out once you get in. Use charm and charisma to convince others of their capacity to be caring and compassionate. I used whatever I think I needed. I think this is why I liked drama so much in school. I was good at playing a role that wasn't me. I really enjoyed being someone else. And I loved playing roles, and that, carried forward. CoDA taught me to be just one person instead of many. That was when I talked about being a whole person instead of a fractured person. Just be yourself. If they don't like you, that's okay. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And in recovery, I behave authentically with others, allowing my caring and compassionate qualities to emerge. Not everybody has the compassionate gift. My best friend told me, this is so funny. I mean, I laugh about it now, but at the time it was really shot me through the heart. She said, you're not a very thoughtful person. What? I thought, what? Oh my God! I've been sponsoring her for decades. For the hours we spent together, that's not thoughtful. She didn't mean it that way. She meant that I don't go out of my way to overhelp other people. Really, take over for other people without being asked. And that was her idea of thoughtful. That's coming from her history, not mine. So she told me that, and of course I was initially insulted, pal. And so I brought it right about this close, and I started to look at it and said, okay, well, what do we got here? And I decided that I am not a thoughtful person, by the way. I don't go out of my way to, I'm doing better with this, but it wasn't really in my nature to think about the other person more than me. So I'm working on that. But her idea of thoughtfulness was to be over helpful. It was different. Her history and mine are different. So I decided that I'm going to work on being thoughtful when it is appropriate. There's that word again. And not over help people, because I do tend to do that. I take charge to help them. I'm so helpful. So yeah, I dealt with that appropriately. Okay. Use blame and shame. Is that where we are? Yes. Use blame and shame to exploit others emotionally. I tried not to use the dark arts, but I would if I had to. You know? Some people are better at this than I am, but really it's easy to blame or shame somebody, especially when you have recovery, because you can use recovery terms. You know, you can tell them if somebody tries to barf on you about something, well, you know, progress, not perfection. It's a way of getting around things, and it kind of tells them, well, you're the one that's being a jerk here. It's amazing what we can do to each other if we need to. So when I'm being not attacked by somebody, but when somebody tells me you're not thoughtful, okay, I'll think about that. Thank you. That's all. And I will think about it. That's the difference. I won't just poo-poo it because she said it and I didn't like it. I will think about it and see if it's true. If it is true, I'll work on it. If it's not true, well, let that go. It's not true. That's not for me. That's for her. In recovery, I ask directly for what I want and need and trust the outcome to my higher power. I try not to manipulate outcomes with blame or shame. I try not to manipulate outcomes at all. No matter what method I would normally use, this also goes against me. I also always had a plan to make something come out the way I thought it should. I don't do that anymore. Whatever is going to happen, it's not up to me. It's not destiny per se. It's just that this is the way it is. This is the way my life is right now. We had a little blip with the microphone. So what? That's not on me. I go take a break for a little bit, and everything's going to be fine. I don't panic. I don't get scared. I don't freak out like I used to. I thought, oh my God, it's ruined. The whole thing's ruined. You know, we just had it's just a microphone made. It's no big deal. It's just. You know, I'm not as dramatic as I used to be, by half. In recovery, I ask directly for what I want and need, when I know what that is. And I'm normally getting these things for myself. If I need approval, I'll give it to myself. If I didn't do a very good job, I'll tell myself about it. That's what the 10th step is for. I could have done that a little bit better. I don't need somebody else to tell me that. It's like somebody tells me, wow, you've gained weight. Yeah, I know. I got a mirror. You know, I got a full-length mirror. Why do you need, you know? But thank you. Thanks for letting me know. And, you know, have a nice day. Have a very nice day far away from me. Okay, that's not very nice. Okay, erase that part. Let's see. Refuse to cooperate. Yeah, oh yeah. Refuse to cooperate, compromise, or negotiate. I would dig in every once in a while. If I actually thought I was really right about something, I would dig in and you could not move me. I didn't do it at all as often as the people whose control pattern is their go-to pattern. But when I did, I just would not be swayed. I wouldn't talk to my sponsor, wouldn't talk to my higher power, wouldn't work the steps on it, wouldn't do anything. I'd just refuse to move my position at all. Nowadays, I don't dig in like that. Let me see what I said about this. Once I decided I was right, I could not be swayed. If at some point I realized I was wrong, I would dig in harder. I'm awesome. Okay. Or I would end the conversation so I wouldn't look stupid. Remember, that's job number one. Don't look stupid. Not looking stupid was crucial. It goes back to being sandwiched between two smarter, thinner people. You know, it's just, you just cannot look stupid no matter what. In recovery, however, I cooperate, compromise, and negotiate with others in a way that honors my integrity. You know what I like about CoDA? I love business meetings in CoDA because you are, like my sponsor said, you are obligated to state your opinion. This is what you must do. If you have an opinion on something, you must state it, and then let the group conscience win the day. That's all. That's your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to argue somebody else out of their position. We had a vote taken one time, and I forget what it was about. I was the chair at the time. I've done a lot of different positions. But the vote was 4-5. And it was so close, I said, would y'all like to think about this some more rather than just have a winner, because one person jumped to the other side? And they said, yeah, let's table this for now and take a vote to where it's more everybody wants it or everybody doesn't. It's not a win-lose thing anymore. It used to be but I don't, the CoDA people don't play that way. They just don't. I don't have to win. Adopt an attitude of indifference, helplessness, authority, or rage to manipulate outcomes. Oh, before we move on, the business meetings that I used to like are AA business meetings. Even if you're not an alcoholic, go to one of those business meetings. That's the way you do it wrong. There's chairs flying across the room and people getting resentments and cursing and stuff. That's the sick stuff, Then you get into CoDA and go, well, maybe I didn't have to be, so stern about that position. I state my position and let it go. That's now. It wasn't then. I used to be the one throwing. I did not throw any chairs. Okay. Adopt an attitude of indifference, helplessness, authority, or rage to manipulate outcome. Yeah, I would use whatever I needed. Manipulation seemed to come fairly easy for me, even though I didn't see it that way. I didn't see myself manipulating people. I was being helpful. I was helping them see that my way was really the best way. And then I would get pissed off if they couldn't see it that way as well. I don't need to do that anymore. There are other people with really great ideas. Doesn't have to be mine. I was just getting my needs met, and that's it. The ends justifies the means. That's the way I live my life. Don't do that anymore. And so in recovery, I treat others with respect and consideration and trust my higher power to meet my needs and desires. That's nice, treating other people with respect. It's amazing what you get back when you just treat somebody with respect. It changes. Even if it's just if you're in a grocery store or something, and I always call the cashiers, thank you, by their name. And some of them are really taken aback. But wow, thank you for noticing that I'm an actual person, rather than just a machine here. So that's good. Spread the love. Use recovery jargon in an attempt to control the behavior of others, especially if they're not in recovery and you are, because you've got a ton of recovery jargon that they don't know about. They don't know what to come back with. And it's also to claim authority. I had to watch this closely when I became a sponsor. It is a perfect time to take control of somebody. When you become a sponsor, you've got to really be careful of that. And I'm constantly checking my behavior. Am I trying to give her advice? Am I trying to tell her what to do? Or am I laying the tools of recovery at her feet like I'm supposed to? It's important. And that's, I was scared that I was going to ruin somebody else's life. I don't have that power. My sponsor told me there's nothing you can say or not say that's going to make somebody slip or not slip, especially in AA. They're going to drink if they're going to drink. CoDA slips are a little bit more of a gray area. It's harder to see. Have I slipped or am I in recovery right now? We don't even know that. Is this good or bad? Well, we don't know yet. Okay, I'm actually pretty good about that. But I try to make sure that I'm not telling somebody things that I don't know about. I have a girl that keeps wanting to get me involved in, should I file for a separation or a divorce? I don't know. That's for you to decide. I can help you with your own patterns here. We can see what you're using, but I can't advise you on that. Okay, I'm not a lawyer, and I wouldn't. It's not my job right now anyway. In recovery, I use my recovery for my growth and not to manipulate or control others. I have really grown by what I learned from my sponsees. It's like out of the mouths of babes. All of a sudden, they'll say something and go, wow, okay, that's cool. Somebody said the other day, they're not character defects, they're character defaults. And I thought that was cool. Character defaults. This is what I default to. That makes sense, doesn't it? This is my default action. This is what I do about things. So, again, once my sponsor told me, if you think it's a good idea, do the opposite. It should be okay. And now I tell my girls like that, they give me the same look. I think this little pinched, who do you think you are? Okay. And the last control pattern, although I'm sure there's more, pretend to agree with others to get what they want. Yeah, I'll do whatever needs to be done. I was too afraid to disagree. I remember the repercussions clearly from childhood, and I brought that fear forward. You know, I know all about that, saying the wrong thing at just exactly the wrong moment. And, man, you just don't know what's going to happen in my house. On Thursday, they might let it slide, but on the following Tuesday, you might get your butt kicked. So, all right. In recovery, my communication with others is authentic and truthful. Can you imagine telling the truth all the time? Ugh, it's so much easier. Wow. I tell the actual truth. And even if somebody, does this dress make my butt look big? Yes, it does. I'm sorry. You asked, so apparently you want to know. So, yeah, it does. And that's a bad color. Okay, so. Now, I try to help. I'm trying to help, that's all. All right, avoidance patterns. And this was my go-to. This is what I did. Codependents act in ways that invite others to reject, shame, or express anger toward them. I did not realize that when I went home to see my family and I considered myself walking on eggshells around them, they were actually walking on eggshells around me as well. Because they never know what they were going to say that was going to make me get dramatic or tearful or resentful or angry. I didn't know that. I thought they were hurting me. I didn't realize I was hurting them too. When I finally went home as an adult for the first time, like 2 years ago, things were different. I'm going to tell the hamburger story real quick. Anybody heard the hamburger story yet? I think you've heard it. Okay, this is a great story. This is how I dropped my job. I used to be the scapegoat of the family. Something was wrong, I was blamed. Okay, so in order to drop that, and I didn't even know what I was doing when I did this, my sponsor, right after she said, okay, I want you to stop saying no, I want you to start saying yes from now on. 2 days later, Mom and my sister, who lived together, invited me over for dinner. I'm like, God. Oh, wow. Okay, yes. Okay, here we go. This begins this epic journey with yes. All right, well, we can start here. And I went home, and as soon as I walked in the door, the cat was sitting right in the entryway looking at me like, I'm serious. This cat was, don't come in here. The cats are funny. They know what's going on, and they're like, don't. And I'm an idiot. I came in anyway. And I went and sat down. There was nobody in the room. And pretty soon, Mom came out of her bedroom. She'd been crying. Here comes that burp. Hold on. There we go. I waited for that. Okay. So she comes out of her bedroom, and she's been crying. She walks right past me, goes to the kitchen, and she's puttering around in there, and she's, her shoulders are shaking and stuff. I'm going, awesome. So I went over, and I said, hi, Mom, how are you doing? Give her a big hug, and she said, well, I guess I'm just stupid. And I said, I'm sorry to hear that. And I went and sat back down. Got out my Yahtzee game on my phone. And I'm playing Yahtzee. I told her I'm sorry to hear that. That's what she wanted. She wanted to be heard. So she goes out to cook the burgers, and here comes my sister out of her bedroom. Oh, Mom is ruining this house. She's spilling wine everywhere. And it's I'm sorry to hear that. And in comes Mom. She's finished cooking now. And I'm just not getting involved in any of this, right? Because I'm an adult now. Adults don't get involved in other people's stuff, not healthy adults. You handle your own stuff, I'll handle mine. What did my boss used to say? You lie to your friends, I'll lie to my friends, but let's not lie to each other. So anyway, so they're both in the room. Burgers are in, tables out there. There's all kinds of, there's cheese and avocado and bacon bits and all kinds of neat stuff. And I don't normally eat a bun anymore because it's kind of too much, So I'm fixing my burger, got all the toppings on there, everything's good, and I start eating, and Mom says, don't you want a bun? Sounds innocuous, right? It's not. That's DEFCON 3. And I've done something wrong, and I know it. This is my childhood. I've done something wrong. And I said, I don't think so, but thank you. But I made you a bun. DEFCON 2. Now we're getting serious. I have to do something. I have to fix this. But I said, Mom, I appreciate that, but I think I'm just going to eat it like this. Well, I told you I was making hamburgers. Okay. Now I'm supposed to say, what am I supposed to do? Say, oh, I forgot my bun. Here, grab me one. I said, Mom, I don't really know what to say, but I'm really enjoying this. And I started eating. Most uncomfortable eating that I'd ever done, but the burger was good, and I didn't want it to congeal, right? So I'm eating. And all of a sudden, they were angry with each other. They weren't angry with me. They'd been arguing, but I'm their scapegoat. They can't argue with each other because what might happen? What if? What if Terry decides to head out the door and leaves Mom with bills? What if this whole relationship implodes? What if? So rather than talk to each other, Mom dumped on me. That's my childhood. So I didn't play this time. So I, dropped the victim role, and the two of them started arguing with each other. So I'm eating this really good burger, and I got done, went back and over and played Yahtzee some more, right? They're arguing with each other, and they get finished. They work out whatever they were trying to work out, and they actually came over and apologized to me for ruining the evening. I was like, what? All I had to do was nothing? Kind of pissed me off, I'll be honest with you. All this time, but I'd been going home as a child. This time I went home as an adult. And I don't get treated like that anymore because I don't buy in. I dropped my role. So when you get home, the next time you go home, remember, whatever your childhood role is, that's what they need you to do. Don't do it. Do the opposite and you should be okay. That's a motto. I look good on a pillow, right? Okay. Where are we at? Then use, no, not there. Avoid, here we go, sex again. Judge harshly what others think, say, or do. Yeah, we're right there. Judge harshly what others think, say, or do. Yeah, when I was trying to be special, when I was trying to be the boss, what did I write about that? I was always looking for insults, and when you seek an insult, you're going to find one. I would be outraged and tell my current sounding board how distressed I was so they would have sympathy for me. This worked with everyone but my sponsor. I would tell her the worst stories and so dramatic and the tears and all that stuff, and she'd, yeah, okay, well, let's get to work. Wow, wait a minute. I got some grinding to do here. I've been insulted. I've been hurt. Okay, well, we'll work the steps on it. I'm not getting what I want out of her. I better, I guess I'm just going to work the steps. Okay, in recovery, I keep an open mind and accept others as they are, warts and all. That's hard. It's hard letting other people be exactly who they are when your advice would make them so much better. Right? They could be such better people if only they would take your advice. But I'm drawing on my history. And I think that if you do this, you should, and just block that whole sentence out, whatever, don't even listen. You should be more like me, is all you should hear on that one. In recovery, I keep an open mind and accept others exactly as they are. Avoid emotional, physical, or sexual intimacy as a way to maintain distance. You see, I was just the opposite with the sexual thing, but with the emotional thing and the intimacy, I didn't know really what that even looked like, because for me it was sex first and then the rest of the stuff was supposed to follow. Does anyone have something here that they can help us with on this? Avoid emotional, physical, or sexual intimacy as a way to maintain distance. What does that mean to you all? Anyone want to help us out? Yes. Microphone.
Great. Historically, for me, it just means everybody's at arm's length. So my heart is closed. It doesn't matter who you are historically. Doesn't matter how close you think we are. You're not in. There's no intimacy within our emotional connection.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I get that. Anyone else want to share on this one? Yes, Richard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to be willing to be vulnerable. You're right.
And until I can get past the lie that my head tells me that everybody's looking for a way to hurt me, everybody's a threat, then only then can I be comfortable enough to be vulnerable and invite real intimacy.
Yeah. Maybe take a chance on this one, right? Thank you, Richard. That's beautiful. Okay, when I'm in recovery, I engage in emotional, physical, or sexual intimacy when it is healthy and appropriate. Okay? I did some really inappropriate stuff, only because I had an agenda. I was looking for love, baby. My goodness. Allow addictions to people, places, and things to distract them from achieving intimacy in relationships. Absolutely. I allowed alcohol to distract me from any kind of intimacy with anyone, including myself. Ooh, am I echoing now? That's cool. I like it. Okay. An addiction to a person is different from a real relationship. That's right. I wrote something really cool here, but it's very similar to an addiction to alcohol, drugs, overeating, over shopping, overworking, over anything. It's compulsive. It makes you euphoric, and it ends in withdrawals. Okay? If you're addicted to a person or to what you think is love with that person, it's just like alcohol. With alcohol, for those non-alcoholics in the room, when I would try to quit drinking again, and I would quit for a while, and then I would decide, I probably overreacted. I can take another drink. And it would go down and burn all the way down. And I go, oh, gosh, that's so much better. Whoa, I feel so much better now. It's that euphoric feeling everything's going to be okay now. It's the same thing with a relationship when somebody all of a sudden, they haven't called you for a week. All of a sudden they call you, and there's that euphoria. Everything's okay. Everything's going to be okay now. It's crumbs and it's garbage, but everything's okay now. It's the same thing. And when you leave that relationship, or to be, in my case, when they leave you, you do have withdrawals. You know, it's like the layers of death. What is it? Denial. Who knows these? Denial, anger, bargaining. Yes. And then there's, and then acceptance at the end. And then, of course, in the meantime, I'm already looking for my next victim, or hostage. I didn't really have relationships. I took hostages. That's it. I mean, come on. That's all. That's what happened. Okay, let's see. Use indirect. Here we go. Use indirect or evasive communication to avoid conflict or confrontation. Absolutely. If I could avoid talking with you about something that I knew was going to go bad for me in particular, I'd just avoid you. I'd go hide in bathrooms. I'd jump under tables. I'm pretty limber when it comes to getting out of the way. I could avoid my boss. We worked in the same building, not a problem. I'm like the cue Mission Impossible music, dun, 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 dun. I'm hiding. I'm avoiding it. In recovery, I use direct and straightforward communication to resolve conflicts and deal appropriately with confrontations. I didn't like confrontations because I was a knuckle under. I was a low self-esteem. I was compliant. Whatever you say is okay with me. Yeah, you're right. I did that wrong. I'm an idiot. It was easier just to say, yep, you're right. I'm stupid, whatever. To actually stand up for myself? No, I couldn't do that. I do it now, because I don't dig in. Number one, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. And number two, if somebody confronts me on something, that's fine. 90% of what they're telling me is their stuff, not mine. They might be having a bad day. Here, I have an example for you. This is really cool. And I don't know why I thought of this. I think of recovery things all the time. But we were out at the Cape, and they had a nor'easter blow through, and the power was down for 4 days. Most of it was, we had a generator. We're smart, man. We had everything we needed. But the first 2 days, they had to clear the trees out of the road before they could get the linemen up there to fix the lines, right? So the linemen, I started thinking about these guys sitting at home, and they've got generators, right? They're not stupid. They know what happens. So they're in there with the TV and the heat's on, and they're cooking, and everything's great. And their friends start calling them up, "Hey, Joe, I'm out of power. What's going on? When are you going to go back to work? How come you're not out there? What are you doing at home?" Right? And that's okay. It's a friend. So the second person comes in and calls, "Hey, Joe, get out there. What's going on?" Third, fourth call, getting tired of this one. Fifth call comes through, and he blows up on the guy. "Damn it, and there's my word, damn it. There's my fourth word. Leave me alone. I'm at home. I can't do anything," and goes sideways on the guy. The guy didn't do anything wrong. He was just like the other four, but he was number 5. That's all. We don't know why people are angry with us. We don't know. We don't know which button we pushed, ever. You might just be number 5. Okay. I love that one. Diminish their capacity to have healthy relationships by declining to use the tools of recovery. Yeah. Boy, when I would dig in on something, about once a year, usually with my boss, and about once a year, I would just dig in, man. No sponsor, no higher power, no tools, no nothing. I'm right, they're wrong. That's it. And that was my Gale story. That's with my boss. That's exactly what I did. I dug in and wouldn't work on it. And so it took 3 or 4 days of me being miserable. She's sleeping good. I'm awake all night thinking of what kind of retaliation is suitable for this. And planning, because you got to match it, right? You got to match tit for tat. So all of that stuff was just hurting me. And when I heard that voice in my head saying, "Do it now," that's when I went to her and made my amend to her. And it was a relief like you can't imagine. I slept good that night. I slept like I hadn't slept in 10 years because I finally dropped the rock, man. Just get over your own stuff. Get out of your own way. I'm my worst enemy on those things. But yeah, I would dig in, and that was that. I would not use the tools of recovery, even though I knew they would make me feel better. I already know all I've got to do is work the steps, and I'm going to be fine. In recovery, when I use the tools of recovery, I am able to develop and maintain healthy relationships of my choosing. Okay? I get to choose. That's a neat concept for me. I didn't realize that I got to choose everything. I get to choose everything. I get to choose who I associate with. I get to choose who I have lunch with. I get to choose who I work with. I get to choose everything. And I can limit my exposure to the people who are not so healthy. The people that are not in recovery don't occupy much of my time. That's just, I prefer the company of sick people like y'all. I mean, we're funner, right? We've got stories. Suppress their feelings or needs to avoid feeling vulnerable. That's what Richard was just talking about. Would do anything other than feel vulnerable. That's too scary because the what ifs start coming in. If I let myself be vulnerable, what if? There's a myriad of things that I can make up that might happen. In recovery, I embrace my own vulnerability by trusting and honoring my feelings and needs. And here's another thing. Put your little girl or your little boy down for a nap or send them out to play. Tell them, "I got it. You know what? I got it, honey. You go play. Have fun." I didn't really remember playing very much when I was a kid. I don't remember joyful times. I play as an adult. I'm going through my first childhood. Ask anybody that knows me. She's sitting right over there. I'll go, "Yep." Okay, so yeah, I'm having a good time now. I laugh at inappropriate moments. I don't care. I'm a kid now. This is fun. I can be an adult too when I have to be. Okay, pull people toward them, but when others get close, push them away. And the lady with the flowers in her hair was talking about that earlier. Keeping people at arm's distance is a lot safer, And this, with the levels of friendship, that's what you should be doing up until at least 90 days in. And then you can start to bring them in just a little bit. And it's not because you're afraid of being vulnerable. It's because you've got discernment now. We're going to take this one step at a time instead of rush in and then find out, oops, shouldn't have done that. Gosh, I married another one. Darn it. In recovery, I welcome close relationships while maintaining healthy boundaries, not fear walls. Codependents often refuse to give up their self-will to avoid surrendering to a power greater than themselves. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with this one. My sister cured me, though, my older sister, because I said, what if my higher power wants me to join the Peace Corps? You know, it's dirty. There's bugs everywhere, and there's probably children and stuff, and ew. And she was really helpful, though. She said, honey, I think you've aged out of that already. I said, oh, thank you and screw you, you know. Gosh, she's so mean. But, you know, that cured me. Okay. We don't know what's going to happen. It's like the Chinese guy. You don't know good or bad. Doesn't matter what's going on. You have no idea. That's the adventure part. Let's see. And in recovery, I believe in and trust a power greater than myself. I willingly surrender my self-will to my higher power. And I live in the moment. Here's the key. If you're living in the moment, then you're living in acceptance. This is the way it is right now. If you're not practicing acceptance, you're practicing a pattern. Please write that down. If you don't write anything else down today, if you are not practicing acceptance, you are practicing a pattern. One of your choosing. It's usually your go-to. You know, mine's avoidance. Believe displays of emotion are a sign of weakness. Sure, when I was playing God, absolutely. What did I say about that? I don't think I can speak to this one. Can anyone help? All right. Believe displays of emotion or sign of weakness. Who has something on this? Anyone at all? Yes.
Well, I got told that it was being too much like my aunts.
Ooh.
Or my grandmother, because, you know, it wasn't okay to be worried about something. Because if you were worried, it means you were already going over the cliff. You weren't just simply worried.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you were already gone.
And so then it was just like, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, don't show any emotion. I think for guys, isn't it like, don't cry? You know, you're a little man now. You're you know, at what, 3 years old, whatever? No more crying? Yeah, don't show any emotion. My emotions, displays of emotion around my house were not safe, period. Even if it was a good emotion. There were times I got in trouble when I was laughing too much. It took me a while for my sense of humor to develop after I left the house because we didn't have the highs and lows. We were ducking for cover all the time. Always quiet. So in recovery, I honor my authentic emotions and share them when appropriate. See? That makes all the difference. And the last one, withhold expressions of appreciation, which is sad, but I used to not appreciate other people. They were supposed to appreciate me. You know, seriously, I mean, everybody else had more than me, so they should be feeding me. They should be giving me stuff. That's the way I saw it. And also, I would never compliment anyone else, because if I said something nice to you, that diminished me somehow. I don't know why I thought about it that way, but if I pushed you up, that meant I pushed myself down. That's not what that means. And I compliment people all the time now. It's really nice. People love that. And it's honest. I don't just do it to get something. That's another reason not to do that. And what did I say about that? If I compliment someone else, I'll be putting myself down somehow. Yep. And in recovery, I freely engage in expressions of appreciation toward others, and that is the truth. Probably not as much as I should. There's a lot of people in service that are on the fringes of things. They're more invisible than somebody like me that's at the microphone. There are people that have been putting a lot of work into this, and they're kind of the unsung heroes. Go up to them and tell them, hey, great job, man. That's something I probably couldn't have done. I don't know. And if I did do it, I'd be pissed off the whole time. You know, it's not something that I enjoy. So thank you for putting this together. I'm trying to be better about that, trying to be more cognizant, more thoughtful about that. Maybe I haven't done enough work on that one. No, but I'm good. And, you know, that's all I have for you today. So I think we've got time for a couple of questions anyway. Yes. Here we go.
Thank you. The levels of relationships literally like changed my life today. I really appreciate that. Do you have any insight, Karen, on how you can scan someone to evaluate if they're at the same level as you are?
Yep. Look at the patterns. This is your key to the universe right here. Look at the patterns. See if they're using them. Okay, if they're using patterns, they're not going to move any higher than a 2 for right now. And if they're in recovery, that's good. They're going to be progressing, and that's good. But they can't move forward until they start getting some of that healthy CoDA stuff. Maybe once they finish the steps, for example. That's a good way to look at it.
Okay. Do we have any virtual questions? We can go back and forth if we have any up there.
If you're interested in making a question virtually, please raise your virtual hand, and I'll call on you. Or Holly will.
Okay. And then do we have anybody? Okay.
There's
While we're waiting for virtual, we'll.
I just want to know, is Special K?
They have to see it on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Special K spelled with the letter K?
Yes.
Special K.
Yes. Just
Okay.
special K, the letter K.
Thank you.
Stands for Karen. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter caps or no caps. Just special K. Like the cereal. I didn't realize there was ketamine when they, I didn't realize what that was. I didn't put that together either. I didn't put a lot of stuff together.
All right. I don't see any hands up on the virtual. So do we have any more in-person questions?
Awesome.
You got one? Okay.
I don't really have a question. I just want to say I appreciate all the years that you've been putting in these workshops and how much we've all learned from you. And I appreciate you. Thank you very much for all you've done for the years.
Thank you so much. I love doing these. This is a gift that I did not come by. I just have it, and so I'm going to use it for recovery, and this is what I use it for. That's it. Somebody asked me if I was a stand-up comedian. I said, well, depends on who you ask, really. But no. Anyone else? Did you have your hand up, sir? You went boop, like that.
Yeah, I have a question here. I hope I remember now here. I'm most of my life I live in Germany, so there are cultural patterns, and I discover them more or less lately. I'm going through a CoDA for a while, but I'm very uptight in my old way of thinking. And one which you just mentioned was the giving compliments, and I feel extremely uncomfortable with it because throughout Germany, a lot of people, including myself, thinking compliments are always lies, And I don't know where it came from, but it's one of these cultural things I cannot shake it off, it seems to be. Do you have an kind of an answer on that?
Mm-hmm. You get to be you. If that's not in your culture, you can do that in slow and start out small, just see how it feels. But if it's not in your nature, and if it's a lie, like you said, and when Germans give compliments that's a lie, don't do it. The people that are healthy around you won't need you to give them an atta-girl or an atta-boy. And start slow. Just maybe once a year, tell somebody. But see, you don't have to say, I think we get caught up in going big with compliments. You were so fantastic. Actually, you can be specific. The way they load a dishwasher, I always put them the other way. That's a good idea. It's small. You don't have to go big. It doesn't have to be big.
All right. I think I saw one virtually.
Oh, cool.
There is.
Okay.
UT.
Ute, how are you?
Hi. I'm a newcomer. I'm 2 months in CoDA, and I was wondering, Karen, can I work on my control patterns without a sponsor? They are hard to get.
Yes, you can. You can start working on the 10th step immediately. The 10th step you can start working on to take a look at the last 24 hours to see if you're controlling or which pattern that you used. The easiest way to do that is to just go down the list of patterns. And you said you're a controller, so just don't go down the control patterns, see if you've used those today. And if so, you can apologize to somebody, but just for the last 24 hours. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Katrina.
Hi, Katrina.
I wanted to comment on the issue about compliments. Mm-hmm. What I call it, and I read a book years ago called Brag, and where I came to was even if I'm like bragging, what I call it is I'm telling the truth about my greatness.
Yes. This is the truth.
And that helps me own it. It's part of that be yourself.
Yeah.
Because my self-talk is very critical. My background is Germans from Russia.
Wow. Yikes.
So, and my assertion is that the whole culture in South Dakota is codependent.
God bless them.
We have that nature of being nice.
Yeah.
We don't know how we feel, let alone being able to communicate about it, because then you're not nice.
Then you're not nice.
And that's all important. So telling the truth about my greatness, telling the truth about your greatness. You look great today. I like your beard.
Yeah.
Your glasses are really cool. Just little things to help you get over either giving or receiving compliments. And then yes, thank you. And then the other thing was, it's called affirmative inquiry, and it's actually a problem-solving technique where you only acknowledge what works. If you see the world through only what works.
Huh. Okay.
Awesome.
That sounds cool.
And I know, being a recovering perfectionist, I tend to see everything. I can look at a page and see the one misspelled word, the comma that's not in the right spot. I mean, that's just how I see the world. So I see all the things that don't work, and yes, I want to fix them. And I totally think I can. Especially if they're on that side of the street and not my side of the street.
Sure.
So what I've learned is to balance that. If the service in a restaurant is such that, say, I would send the steak back, call the manager over, my fork's dirty, my steak was done, and the wait person didn't fill my water enough. When I notice that service was great, I got exactly what I wanted, then I call the manager over and say, I just wanted to have a word with you. This is the best service I've ever had. And the food was done perfectly.
They're always surprised to hear that. Always surprised.
That presence of,
number
I
one,
want
because they
to have a
expect
conversation.
Yeah. Initially, they're like, oh, God, now what? But they hear that compliment, they go, wow, thank you. It's like you can see them relax and their shoulders go down and stuff. It's really nice.
And it makes for more fun conversations.
That's true. But you bring up a good point, sir, because the chef that I worked for so closely was German, and he had that culture, and I called it a culture problem, you see. For me, it was a problem because he never gave me attagirls. And then I worked CoDA, and I thought, okay, I'm going to have to do this myself. Because even my boss would say, well, that's a culture thing. That's just the way he is. I'm going, well, that's not acceptable. He needs to change. He's in America, This whole thing, and I tried to insist on him changing his behavior and his tone and everything and the way he talked to me to make me more comfortable. After starting to work CoDA, I thought, okay, he gets to be who he is. That's it. It's simple. So if you're going up against somebody you don't understand, here's another thing. It might be cultural. Might have nothing to do with you. Okay?
All right, so we got 3 minutes or 2 minutes. So we got one last one here.
Oh, goody. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Gail, a.k.a. Tori.
Right. Hi, Tori.
I want to thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
I'm a newcomer. I realize, listening to you and seeing my patterns, how badly I need this program, especially when I realize I'm being very codependent with my son and his wife, and thinking about how I'm going to change that, and then thinking about what a kick in the teeth that's going to be to them. So I guess my codependence runs real deep. But thank you for all of this insight.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're welcome. Big changes coming. It's great. Hi, Jiffy. What do you got? Yell it on out.
What do you do if you have like a relationship with somebody who is not into levels of friendship at all, is not into any of that, is not into program, is not into to get that on the even or on the balance. What is there anything in particular?
Yes, there are 2 maximum. If they're not in recovery, honestly, if they have not grown up in a nurturing family with that had boundaries, if they're just out there winging it, there are 2 at the most. Okay, don't move them forward until they get into some recovery. Tell them drink more than you can stand. Get into some recovery. You know, get them in that way.
Okay,
So
we
I
got
keep
one more
telling my
real quick
sister,
one.
drink up, honey.
This is just real quick. Can you tell me what a codependent brings to the second date?
To the second date?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yes. Codependence on the second date. That's a great question because it's going to be case by case. Number one, how did you meet? I know if it's on a dating website, that's a whole different thing than if friends brought you together, right? So if you're on your second date, you could say, what do you like to do? You know, find out what they're into, because you're now in a fishing expedition. You're going to discern things about them, and you're going to ask them, tell me about your family. Just because you're not going to tell them anything doesn't mean they can't tell you everything. I mean, if they're in recovery, it's going to show up. But on the second date, you're going to want to look, how do they treat that waitress? Are they abusive to anybody? I've seen some really bad behavior before, and they're done. Okay, as a friend, as a dining partner, as whatever, they're at 2 maximum. And 2 is okay. A casual relationship is just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Is that okay?
Yeah, thanks. And so it's not a moving truck, though?
It's not a moving what?
No.
What did you say? I want to laugh. It's not a...
Okay.
What did he say?
Gotta love where he said it's not a moving truck.
More of a runaway train sometimes, but yeah. There we go.
All right, so we're at 5:01.
All right.
So
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for keeping me alive.
Thanks very much, Karen.